Ectoparasite, Ectoparasitidae, Ectoparasitidae, Ectoparasitidae. Research and development cost for delivery or discovery of new chemical entities to control parasite has increased significantly. Traditional the Traditionally the ectoparasitidae market has been satisfied primarily by reformulation of compound developed and tested for crop protection. Only in recent years there has been an introduction of a few new products with novel mode of action exclusively for animal, example insect growth regulators. The method of application has also improved to make it easier to use or prolong period of drug action or increase spectrum of chemical activity. Ectoparasitidae groups Ectoparasitidae group virtually all are neurotoxins exerting effect through nervous system. Amid amidins, formidins, macrocyclic lactones, carbamate, nitroglycerin, organochlorines, organophosphate, phenylpyrazole, pyrethrins, and synthetic pyrethroid miscellaneous new category of insect control agent. Amidins, formal, formamidins, amitraz act octo, octopamine receptor site cause neuronal hyperexcitability and death. Used as spray or deep or pour one. Effective against livestock mite, magn in pig, in deep stabilize using calcium hydroxide, small animal treatment of Demodex, Sarcoptes, etc. Tricolor in dog, contraindicated in horses, pregnant and nursing batches and cat. Decreased formulation can be used for cat demodicosis. Macrocyclic lactones, ivermectins or milbemycin. Macrocyclic fermentation produce macrocyclic fermentation product of Streptomyces evermylitis, ivermectins, and Streptomyces cyanograceus milbemycins. Ivermectin, abamectin, doramectin, aprenomectin, moxidectin, and milbemycin oxime silamectin are available. Since these are active against nematodes and arthropods, they are referred to as endectocides. Available as oral or parenteral or topical spot once for one wide safety margin, but some breed of dogs colleagues are sensitive to ivermectins. Both are lipophilic, stored in fat tissue and released slowly, metabolized and excreted. A temporary depot occurs in fat and liver and there is slow release. Prolonged half-life of these compounds also determine level of residue in meat and milk. Hence, there is a compulsory withdrawal period following treatment in food producing animal, with exception of aprenomectin which has zero milk withdrawal period. This class of compound cannot be given to lactating cow or during the last 2 months of pregnancy. Mode of action: act on gamma aminobutyric acid GABA neurotransmission at two or more site blocking interneuronal stimulation of excitatory motor neuron leading to flaccid paralysis. Achieve this probably by stimulating the release of GABA from nerve ending and enhancing the binding of GABA to its receptor on the postsynaptic membrane of an excitatory motor neuron. The enhanced GABA result in an increased flow of chlorine ion into cell leading to hyperpolarization. Carbamate. Carbamates closely related to organophosphate and are anticholinesterase but unlike organophosphate appear to cause a spontaneously reversible block on enzyme acetylcholinesterase without changing it. Example: carbaryl, propoxur, phenoxycar. Carbaryl and propoxur have low mammalian toxicity, carcinogenic. Phenoxycarb act as IgR, prevent embryonic development, in flea egg larval development and adult emergence. Nitroguanidine, nitroguanidines, imidacloprid, chloronicotinil insecticide, a synthetic chlorinated derivative of nicotine. It specifically binds to nicotine acetylcholine receptors in the insect CNS, leading to inhibition of cholinergic transmission, result in paralysis and death. Nicotine has similar mode of action. Favorable toxicity of imidacloprid is because it seems to bind to acetylcholine receptor of insect and has no effect on this receptor in mammals. Used as spot on for dog and cat to protect against fleas. Organochlorines. Environmental and persistent concern has result in declined use of organochlorines. Three groups: chlorinated ethane derivative DDT, dichlorodiphenyl trichloroethane, DDE, dichlorodiphenyl dichloroethane, and DDD, dichloromethoxychlor. Cyclodines, chloradine, aldrin, dieldrin, hepatochlor, endrin, and toxaphene other than DDT. Hexachlorhexanine, HCH, like BSC, and which include gamma isomer and lindane. Mode of action: chlorinated ethanes causes inhibition of any conductance along sensory and motor nerve fiber by holding sodium channels upon delayed repolarization of axonal membrane, so the nerve become vulnerable to repetitive discharge from small stimuli that would normally cause an action potential in fully repolarized neuron. Cyclodines, two mode of action: inhibition of gamma aminobutyric acid GABA stimulated chloride flux and interference with calcium flux. The resultant inhibitory postsynaptic potential lead to a state of partial depolarization of the postsynaptic membrane and vulnerability to repeated discharge. Same mode of action of Lenden, which bind picrotoxin side of GABA receptor, inhibit GABA dependent chloride flux into the neuron. Organophosphate. Organophosphate. Organophosphate are neutral ester of phosphoric acid or its analogues. They act by inhibiting the action of acetylcholinesterase at cholinergic synapses and at muscle and plate. Organophosphate mimic the structure of acetylcholine, and when it binds acetyl receptor, acetylenesterase causes transphosphorylation of enzyme. This transphosphorylated ACHE is unable to break down and accumulate as ACH at postsynaptic membrane, leading to neuromuscular paralysis. Degree of transphosphorylation of enzyme help to determine activity of organophosphate. It is not reversible. Acetylcholine receptor E metabolized by oxidative and hydrolytic enzyme eventually. Phenylpyrazole. Phenylpyrazole. Fipronil. Fipronil blocks transmission of signals by the inhibitory neurotransmitter GABA. The compound binds within the chlorine channel and consequently inhibit the flux of chlorine ion into the nerve cell, resulting in hyperexcitation of insect nervous system. Fipronil is lipophilic, diffuse into the sebaceous gland of hair follicle and act as a reservoir. It has long residual activity. Sunlight or bath etc. do not affect this spray spot on. It is safe for pups and kitten and has knockdown effect on flea or ticks. Pyrethrin and synthetic pyrethroids. Lipophilic or rapid absorption, distributed, excreted, excellent for knockdown effect, has poor residual activity, instability, hence is of low mammalian toxicity. Pyrethrin first is most active ingredient for killing insect and pyrethrin second for rapid insect knockdown. Pyrethrin acts on insect CNS by exciting the cell membrane, resulting in extended depolarization. Prolongation of activity can occur when the compound is microcapsulated or stabilized. Certain pyrethrin preparation contain pyperonil butoxide, which act as synergist by helping to prevent pyrethrin breakdown by microsomal function oxidase MFO system in insect. Synthetic pyrethroids are more stable with higher potency. It can be combined with synergistic like pyperonil butoxide. Common pyrethroids include bioelectrin, cypermethrin, deltamethrin, phenvalerate, flumethrin, lambdacyhalothrin, phenothrins, and permethrin. Mode of action. Mode of action. Interference with an channel, sodium channel of the parasite nerve axon, resulting in delayed repolarization and repetitive discharge of the nerve. Type second. Also act on sodium gate but without causing repetitive discharge. Lethal activity of pyrethroid involve both peripheral and central neuron, while the knockdown effect is produced by peripheral neuron effect only. Power 1. Spot on spray, deep topical powder spray, ear take etc. Miscellaneous. Pyperonil butoxide PBO is a methyl dioxyphenyl compound used as synergistic additive in the control of arthropod pest. It is used as a synergistic with pyrethroid. Effect of IgR also enhanced with this. PBO inhibit the microsomal enzyme system of arthropod. It has low mammalian toxicity and rapid degraded in environment. Compound include pyrethrin, jasmoline, citronella, indolone, garlic oil, DEET, and diethyl tolemide and DMP, dimethylpentane. Insect growth regulators. New category of insect control agent constitute a chemical group which do not kill a target but interfere with growth and development, act mainly on immature stage and not used in adult control. Based on mode of action, chitin synthesis inhibitor BPU, chitin inhibitor thiazine, pyrimidine derivative, juvenile hormone analog JHA, benzyl phenylurea BPU, benzoyl phenylurea. benzylphenylurea. During each mold, chitin is newly formed by polymerization of individual sugar molecules. This with protein are assembled into chain with which in turn are assembled into microfibrils. Exact mode of action is not understood. It may be by interference with assembly of chitin chain into microfibril. Immature insect stage exposed to their BPUS cannot complete ecdysis and die during molting process. BPU also show a trans-ovarian effect. Exposed adult produce egg in which the compound is incorporated into the egg nutrient. Egg development is normal but newly hatched larvae are incapable of hatching. BPU is effective against insect but not against tick, the exception being fluzuron, which is active against tick and mite. BPU is lipophilic, built up in body fat, released into bloodstream, excreted unchanged. Diflubenzuron dimyelin is lipophilic and renders 12 to 40 week protection. Lufenuron program given orally, it accumulates in fat and is slowly released. Fleet takes it with blood and interfere it to egg which are not viable within 24 hours of administration. Formation of larval chitin structure is blocked, thus inhibiting development of the larvae. Flufenoxyuron is a chitin synthesis inhibitor used against blowfly. Triflumamuron is used against lice and fleas. Chitin inhibitor thiazine and pyrimidine derivatives differ from BPU in chemical structure and mode of action. It altered deposition of chitin into cuticles. Cyromazine larvadex triazine derivative effective against blowfly, housefly and mosquito. Larval mold to second and third instars affected when L1 come into contact. Pour on preparation is effective for 13 weeks. After a single pour on deep or shower, effect lasts longer. Dicyclanyl is a pyrimidine derivative when used on diptene larvae as pour on formulation. It give 20-week protection used in blowfly control. Juvenile hormone analog JHA mimics activity of natural juvenile hormone and prevent metamorphosis to adult. When the larvae is fully developed, enzyme within the insect circulating system destroy the endogenous insect hormone, permitting development to adult stage. The juvenile hormone analog bind to the JH receptor site, but because they are structured different, they are not destroyed by the insect estrases. Hence, metamorphosis and development to adult stage is impaired. Methoprim altoside, a terpenoid compound with low mammalian toxicity, it's sensitive to light and will not persist outdoor. Used in indoor environment as collar, shampoo, spray, dip, and even feed as larvicides for hornfly control. Pyriproxyfen is used against fleas. Carbamate phenoxycarb also acts as JHA. Common name, scientific name, tiger mosquito, Aedes aegypti. Bitting maggot or Punchyculicoides species, black fly or buffalo gnat simulium species, sandfly or owl maggot, phlebotomous species, Hematoporta species, Caryosop species, boardfly, Gaterophilus species, bird larvae of Gastrophilus species, Ship fly, Ostrus ovis, Warbler fly, Hypoderma bovis, Hypoderma laniata, housefly Musca domestica, stable fly Stamoxis calcitrans, hornfly Leprosia irritans, buffalo fly Leprosia exigua, sissy fly Glossina species, blowfly or butterfly or screwworm fly, California species, Lucia species, water blue fly, California species, green butterfly, Lucilia species, blue green butterfly or old world screwworm fly, Caryosomia, placefly, sarcophagus species, wingless fly or ship-cade, Malophagus ovine, bagbug, Cymax species, kissing bug, Tratoma species, Rhodinius species, short-nosed catalose, Hematopinus, Euryciternus, long nozzle catalose, long-nosed catalose, Linognethus vitual, thumb public or crablos, Pethyrus pubis, wingloss, Lepreus caponis, shaft-loss poultry, Manopon gallini, body-loss poultry, dog flea, sting-type flea, dead flea, Genopsula, Chiopsis, human flea, Pulex irritans, tropical fall mite, red mite of poultry, fall ticks, spinous ear ticks, Tampan, Castrobin tick, North American cattle tick, Buphilus annulatus, bond leg ticks, brown ear ticks, brown dog ticks, American dog ticks, bone ticks, lone star ticks, ear mite or carnivorous tongue worm. Thank you.